It's December. Your house probably smells like pine-scented chaos, and your kids are asking if Santa sends Venmo.
And your elf on the shelf's Pinterest board now has more ideas for Snoop on a stoop than is appropriate for a home with kids of any age. Even Martha Stewart would be side-eyeing your craft bin.
If your holiday soundtrack is equal parts Mariah Carey and meltdowns, you're not alone.
Today we're talking about co-regulation, how to stay calm and help your kids of any age do the same, especially when you're all crammed together under one nostalgic roof.
This is Angry on the Inside. I'm Jess.
I'm Janine. We're both certified ADHD life coaches, but this isn't coaching.
This isn't therapy or medical advice either. Just honest holiday real talk to help your brain and your kid's brain stay merry with the hope of sidestepping as many holiday meltdowns as possible. Co-regulation is lending your nervous system to your kid until theirs is able to reset fully.
And no, that's not codependence. People confuse them all the time, especially in families where helping means doing everything for everyone.
Here's the difference. Co-regulation is mutual support with boundaries. You help each other calm down without losing your own self. This builds growth and trust. Codependence, that is a one-way emotional railroad. You're absorbing their feelings and you end up drained. That's not a connection. That's control and a sparkly bow. It's not healthy for anyone involved in that situation.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never done that.
Me either.
So if you're regulating with your kids instead of for them, you're doing it right. Are you already bracing yourself? If so, then pause, breathe, take a moment, reset together, and then walk in like a regulated team.
And please skip the pre-party you better behave speech. If someone acts out, there's a reason. Use curiosity over threats. You learn way more and yell way less by doing this. I will tell you, at this age and point in my life, I am the pot calling the kettle black. We used to have this discussion with our kids, the make sure you're on your best behavior discussion. They use the term curiosity in coaching a lot. People might hear it and be like, what do you mean curiosity? I'm not curious as to whether or not my kids are going to behave. They're going to behave. The curiosity is stepping back and saying, what's going on? Why is this happening? Not just having that knee-jerk reaction. That's what being curious means in these situations. So none of us are here to tell you what to do, but I would implore you to remember, if they're acting out, it's because they don't know how to regulate themselves, which is why we are talking about co-regulation here today.
And I think that's such an excellent point because, pot calling kettle black of the you better behave speech. I think it comes from, it's obviously our own perspective. We're on pins and needles on how we're going to react. How are we going to behave in a situation? We're just constantly monitoring ourselves. That it just adds that stress to your kids because they're a reflection of you. It's so easy to get trapped in that. Is everyone doing what they're supposed to be doing? And all that really leads to is just everyone being miserable. You being stressed out, they're stressed out. Guaranteed no one's going to have a good time. So lead with curiosity. That's your starting point. Find out what's going on before you automatically just jump into or doing that you better behave speech, is to find out what's going on. And 99% of the time, they're not just acting out just to act out. There's a reason. That goes for yourself too.
Yes, it does. It really does. And I think that as a parent, it's also a bit of a response for the fact that when you have neurodiverse children or you are neurodiverse yourself, everybody has something to say about your parenting and you take it very personally. And so you're trying to just sort of display and mask for everyone all at once. And it's not fair and it's not okay. It's not something that any of us realized we were doing, but we can do better now.
Singing is a sneaky regulation. Paced breathing, dressed up like holiday spirit.
Right? And the nostalgia supercharges it. When you belt out Jingle Bells, Hanukkah, oh Hanukkah, or whatever your family's go-to is, you're syncing memory, breath, and belonging.
Group singing literally drops your cortisol, raises your oxytocin, Translation, instant bonding, and a heck of a lot of stress.
Just pick a song everyone knows and rotate who sets the tempo. And if someone laughs mid chorus, then it's bonus dopamine. It's hard to fight while you're trying to remember the second verse of Let It Snow.
Is there a second verse? Is it? I guess there is a second verse.
Because when we finally kiss goodnight, how I ain't going out in the storm.
Is that the? I guess that is a second verse. Yeah.
Now I'm totally going to have to Google that. A word that we're saying repetitively is synchronization. Synchronization is part of co regulating. We're all raising up that vibration for each other and making those good memories and making it nostalgic. ADHD brains love nostalgia. We love it. We feed on it. It gives us dopamine for days. And it's part of the reason why we love the holidays. This can be used to make really good memories with your kids, whether they're young or adults. It really doesn't matter. It's something that most people can do. And you can say, oh, I'm not a good singer, but you know what? You don't have to be good at singing. Everyone should raise their voice in song and enjoy themselves. And Christmas songs are one of those things you can do that with, or holiday songs, because they're meant to be done that way. You don't have to be a professional singer to sing them.
She says that as somebody who can sing. As somebody who can't sing, I slightly disagree. You just can sometimes mouth the words or talk, speak, that kind of thing. When my daughter was 2, one time I was singing to her, she put her fingers to my lips and said, "No, mommy." So
With this next topic, some people may have strong feelings about it, others might not. We're adding it and we're putting it here because we think it's important, period. Teaching kids to have their own autonomy and control over their bodies and the ability to say no.
exactly. Let people know up front, whether it's sending a quick text or reminding them when you call before your visit, hey, we're doing consent hellos this year. So either we're going to wave, high five, or fist bump only, but don't expect hugs from my kids today.
Guilt belongs in the attic like old ornaments and Clark Griswold. This year's theme, comfort and consent. You can model this. You can come into a holiday party and simply say, I'm skipping hugs today, but I'm so happy to see you. That shows your kid exactly how boundaries sound. These are important things. These are things we're starting to learn now. Children need to learn to set boundaries with adults, adults outside of their home, adults that are parts of their family. They deserve to feel comfortable in their own skin. We want to teach them this now so that as they become adults, they are more confident in this, especially our girls. We don't want them to be overly polite to the point that they are uncomfortable. Even though this is a very serious topic, it is one that comes into play, especially during the holidays in the month of December, because we are seeing so many people. Even as my kids started to grow up, and this is 20 plus years ago now, with my nieces and nephews, I always ask, may I
Mm-hmm.
have a hug? Is it okay to give you a hug? May I have a fist bump? If they say no, say, I understand. I'm happy to see you. It really is that simple. You don't have to say, go give grandma a hug. You have to give grandma a hug. No, they don't have to give grandma a hug. There's reasons.
I actually have a lot of passion around this topic because, first of all, I am a hugger. Love to hug. But
I'm a hugger also.
my sister has, and she was, we grew up in the age where you just had to hug everybody. And come to find out, she doesn't like to be hugged. It's just makes her uncomfortable. So it is kind of funny. I go visit my sister and my brother-in-law. I don't hug my sister, but I hug my brother-in-law. And
Hmm.
that's just how our family knows how to do. And I know my kids noticed it once. I'm like, because your aunt, she doesn't like to be hugged. So I'm not going to hug her. And my kids, depending on the day, they're not really big huggers. And it's so interesting how people can get so upset. And I'm just like, some people, whether neurodiverse or not, it just doesn't feel comfortable for them. So what's the big deal? As you said, like a fist bump or just a hello or a whatever.
I have a family member who he's older, and he is not a hugger. Everybody knows it. So I do not approach him for a hug. But after I was a member of the family for a while on Christmas, he would usually come over and give me a hug. And we would always joke and I would be like, "Oh, special occasion hug." And he'd be like, "Yep, special occasion hug." But I wouldn't just run up to him and give him a hug because that was a boundary for him. And grown ass men deserve to have boundaries too. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with you if you don't want to be touched or squeezed or hugged. And some people only want to be hugged or held by one person on the planet. That might not be you.
Maybe some days they're into it, maybe other days they're not. But I just don't get why people take it so personally.
It is one of those weird things that people do turn in on themselves.
We
People do listen when you ask, most people. And if they blatantly don't and they still do it, that's a red flag in and of itself that you need to step in and you need to take care of as the adult in that situation. If you see someone crossing your children's boundaries in that way, or they're being insistent, or they're making them feel uncomfortable because of their decision, that is not for your children to have to defend. That's for you to step in and either nip it in the bud or grab your kids and head out of the situation because they deserve to feel safe, whether it's the holidays or not. And none of our children deserve to have to deal with that shit with other adults.
one of the things that my kids used to not like about going to big events, trying to get my attention. Like they actually got to the point where my daughter finally realized if she said my name instead of mom, she'd say Janine because she was so frustrated she couldn't get my attention. I have since learned, and I wish I would have known about it before. It's called the Montessori waiting hand. They want your attention. They come, they rest their hand on your arm. Then you can cover their hand with yours and just say, I see you. Finish what you're talking about. And then you can turn to your kid and say, thanks for waiting. So what's up?
It's a technique that you can integrate not only with your small children, your grown children, even your significant other, anyone. You know, your ears are perking up because you hear Janine, but it's probably because someone actually said Janine, not because it was your daughter's voice at first. This method meets connection instead of criticism. You have to practice before. It can't be we're headed into this house and let's talk about this real quick before we go in because the kids will just get confused. Do it in a calm place. Praise them. You waited, and that really helped me listen. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great way to handle it. I wish I would have known that. Would have been nice.
Me too, because it would have made a world of difference. And if kids are trying to get your attention, especially neurodiverse children, it's the same reason as why you try to get someone's attention. You don't want to forget what you have to say, or you feel like it's super important. How many times, even as adults with ADHD, do we feel ignored? We started out with co-regulation, trying to build the framework that we want to be able to enjoy our holidays for ourselves and for our kids. And support isn't weakness, it's strategy.
There are various ways we can support. We've talked about the holidays, just sensory overload for so many people. Different tiers of supporting, prevent, support, and protect. Your prevent is do shorter trips to the store. You don't have to do everything all in one afternoon. Maybe go to off-peak hours so it's not as crazy for them. Have some signal when, you or your kids are at the end of their rope. Let's call it a day. Let's head home. Get them out of that situation. Those fluorescent lights. God, I hate a fluorescent light. I don't wear sunglasses inside if that's going to help. Walking through the perfume section of a department store, especially like at Christmas, I know it used to really bother my son. So if they have a favorite scent, my kids like lavender. I've been on there are for their mittens, and they can just cover their cover their nose as they're walking through something that they're not. That's just too much for them. They're not enjoying all those bombardment of different smells.
And let them know that's acceptable behavior. It's not rude. For many people, even outside of neurodiverse, who have different types of sensitivities to smell, it's okay to protect your senses.
Protect. And I'm happy I'm seeing a lot more people do this with their kids. Are those, noise reducing headphones? Especially like airports, God, or a busy store. Just a great way to prevent that sensory overload, I think.
Yes, I am glad to see it. And again, behavior that's totally acceptable. There's a few different options too outside of headphones. One that a lot of people haven't heard of, and we have no affiliation with this company, but loops. Loops are a type of earplug that just reduces sound, and they have different options for the level of sound that it produces. You can put it into your ear. It's got a little loop on the outside to pull so that it doesn't get stuck in the ear or anything like that. Um, but they're a wonderful addition, pretty reasonably affordable. If you've got the big bucks, the Apple noise canceling headphones, they are pretty awesome, but they are expensive. There's a lot of good off-brand options just on Amazon, but keeping them around, keeping an extra pair in your purse, even if it's just earmuffs, whatever it takes to make your kid comfortable. And keeping in mind, it doesn't have to be a neurodiverse child. Noises are inundating, people are inundating all of this, all of the holiday season. That's a lot to take in. So give your kid capacity. If you dampen the sound, if you dampen the light, if you do these types of things, it does allow them to enjoy the other parts. It allows them to handle the other parts. Get prepared before you even put the car into drive. Load up your ADHD Edition Santa Survival Kit. This is your grab and go stash for every flavor of overstimulation. Kid, teen, adult, doesn't matter. Fill it with fidgets, chewy toys, tinted sunglasses, a soft scarf, mittens that smell like home, uh, plenty of coping candy, right? Sour, crunchy, minty, whatever wakes up the senses instead of letting the overwhelm take the wheel.
And if you want to make it fun, that elf on the shelf travels with his own ADHD toolkit. He's got a stress ball, mini notebook, peppermint candies, and maybe even a pair of sunglasses that are too big for that little plastic head.
If someone starts unraveling in the car or at the checkout line, grab that Santa bag, hand out a fidget or a peppermint, reset before anyone goes full holiday gremlin. Which Gremlins? What an amazing Christmas movie.
You probably think Die Hard's a Christmas movie too, huh?
Die Hard is totally a Christmas movie. I wanted to work that into somehow. Are you a non-Christmas Die
Oh
Hard
my God,
person?
it's so not a Christmas movie just because something had a Christmas scene in it. Christmas has nothing to do with it. It just happens to be a Christmas party.
It happens on Christmas.
I know, but it's not Christmas. God.
And this bag is probably something you carry around anyway. We're just rebranding for the holidays. And let your kids see it. Let them see you using it. Ugh, mom's getting overwhelmed. I'm going to chew a piece of gum. That makes me feel better. Do you want a piece of gum? This is how I feel when I think I need a piece of gum. That type of thing. How do you feel when you chew the gum? Does that help you? What about sour candy? It it doesn't have to be crazy off the wall or anything. You don't have to spend a ton of money. It's just a case of being thoughtful and being, what's the word I'm looking for, Janine?
Intentional?
Yeah, there we go. Being intentional. I know you got a lot of other stuff on your list, but if you are calm, you will be able to help them be calm. If you are regulated, you will help them co-regulate.
Nothing de-escalates faster than a regulated nervous system, especially one with a sour candy or a fidget toy in their hand.
Those high ceiling echo filled stores, they aren't malls, they're sensory traps. Your kids only have so much capacity. If you're in overwhelm, imagine how it's impacting them.
If they want to bring their fidget toy or their headphones or what have you, let them do what works for them. Get them involved.
It builds up confidence. It allows them to feel comfortable around you and lets them know that you aren't judging them, that you are feeling overwhelmed also. And it's a family affair. And if it is a family affair, we want to make sure we're communicating about how we are doing those things together. That makes just a huge difference in your relationship with your kids.
I love me a good tradition, but you got to have the traditions everyone enjoys. If everyone is dreading it, it's not a tradition. It's just a hostage situation with casseroles.
Is it joy or is it obligation? No one earns extra cookies for suffering.
So I was going to I was trying to think some funny thing about not getting extra cookies. But anyway, where do you really need to be? Do you need to attend every single party, or can you just kind of make an appearance? Set those time limits, or don't go at all. Let someone know, hey, it's not going to work out this year. We're not going to be able to make it we're not going to be able to make it. Because I think peace really, and I think you'd agree, Jess, that peace really counts as a family value.
I I most definitely agree. Peace does matter as a family value. Peace on earth, goodwill to man, all those good things. Joke, but something we talk about is the survival mode. If you are in survival mode, doing too much, going too many places, not feeling comfortable and safe in your environment, if you're in survival mode, they are probably in survival mode. This is why open communication, co-regulation, especially during the holidays, is so important.
If you think that you're hiding it from your kids, you are not. I thought for years my kids didn't know when I was stressed or feeling overwhelmed. And kids, they read you like a book. You might think you're like pulling one on them. Trust me, you're not. If you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling overwhelmed, your kids are going to start feeling the same way.
Absolutely 100% correct, Janine. If you tell your kids that everything is fine when it's not, all you're doing is causing damage. You don't have to tell your children everything that's going on, but you can be open with them and saying, I am overwhelmed. I am sad. I need a moment to myself. These things are acceptable because when you lie to them and you say everything's fine, it teaches them to doubt their own intuition, and their intuition is usually pretty good. They will remember later on in life, well, you always said that nothing was wrong, but you were just being mean and you were doing this and that. It causes problems down the road.
Well, I just think they don't feel heard. You're just trying to like dismiss how they feel. You don't feel that way. We've, especially us with ADHD, you've heard that so many times. That's not how you feel. That's not what you think. It's like, yeah, it is actually. I can remember one time feeling very overwhelmed, and I went to the bathroom, and I think it was my daughter knocked on the door, and I was like, "Mom's in a timeout," so I put myself in timeout because I just needed to decompress. Isn't that why we're keeping all those cookies and candy in the pantry or the bathroom so we can go put ourselves in timeout?
Exactly. And when you communicate that to your kids, they know it's okay to feel that way too. Because we all reach our limits. We all pop off. We all get angry. The idea is not to not get angry, but to one, recognize it, limit it, and then be open about it when it does happen. Because this increases their confidence level in their own decisions. It allows them to read a situation properly and be able to react properly and in the way that they need to keep themselves and others safe. These are really good life lessons. We don't think about it during the holidays. We have so much going on and we feel like we have so much responsibility that we have to pull upon ourselves, and then we just drag our family through it too. That's not okay. I know, with our last episode, we talked about the case that we feel like we're being taken advantage of or that we are doing everything and nobody else wants to. But especially when it comes to our kids, usually it's miscommunications. And the more we learn to talk to one another and the more we learn to talk to each other without bias and without pre expectations, the better off we're all going to be. So we can try a sing it out moment, a waiting hand check in, or a family body checklist this week. Tag us with your real life holiday stories. We love the wins and the messy middles.
Because staying regulated isn't about being calm all the time. It's just about staying connected when it counts. We wish you a calm and happy holiday season. And remember, you're not the only one feeling angry on the inside, especially during the holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone.